Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel. In today's video, we're telling you whether you should buy a first generation smart car. Now, what's inspired me to make this video is my current surroundings. Mrs. DL and I have just come off on a date night, and as you'll see, it's pretty outrageous. And we've sort of gone full circle on this car again. It broke down again. We said we were going to sell it, we fixed it, and now we decided we're going to keep it. And that sort of seems to have been the story of this car's life since our ownership. We've had it 3 years now. No, 2 years. I can't remember. No, 2 years. 2 years we've had it. This is the third year. This is the third time I've insured it anyway. And, you know, it's been rocky, to say the least. What do you think? Sell it. No, she doesn't mean that. She was just telling me how much she loved it. But anyway, I think the two of us came at this car the wrong way to start with. We bought it for just £1,300. Speak for myself, apparently. And we sort of thought it would be a cheap run-around car, and to be honest, it has been. It does 60 to the gallon with no effort. It fits anywhere. It's cheap to run, cheap to tax, very cheap to insure. It's just cost just over £200 for us this year for the two of us, and that's the most expensive it's been. When we first got it, it was £145 for the year, so that shows how much insurance has gone up. But it hasn't been plain sailing. Obviously, we've had quite a few issues with the car, as you guys know. At one point, it was off the road for 6 months. What did you think of that?
Yeah. I just want to sell it then, but you can't, can you, really?
You've got to fix it before you sell it.
Yeah.
And then we decided that we'd give it another chance. Then it broke down again. The water pump failed. But it's
like a relationship, isn't it, really?
This is getting very philosophical. Yeah, it is. You're never going to find the absolute perfect human being in terms of they're never going to behave perfectly the whole time in any relationship.
Thanks.
So I think you've got to come at this car as it is. It's an aging modern classic. They don't make cars like this anymore, especially these first generations were sort of pure, unmodified, sort of uncorrupted smart. This was what Smart wanted to do. This is what the Smart car company, or micro car company, when they first set up, this is what Mercedes and Swatch had the idea of. And as they progressed, they started using Mitsubishi engines, which arguably were far more reliable. Perhaps that's why they started doing it. But this was smart engineers being allowed to do exactly what they want, being smart, exactly. And it's you've got to treat it that way. It is a very unique, quirky car. You've got to find yourself a good mechanic. We use Smart Technic in Birmingham when we get stumped on stuff we can't fix. And on the whole, it is a cheap car to run. For example, a new suspension arm on the MOT before last was £34. Fitted it, no problem. Had 2 new front tyres and tracking done. That was £150. That's because the tyres are so skinny you can't get them. You have to order them in. But it's just one of those cars that does make you smile every time you drive it. Now, we've had this remapped to, I don't actually know the figure. It's around 90 horsepower. Bennett Smart Technic did that, and it is an absolute hoot to drive. It's faster than the Brabus one, which is hilarious, although we haven't upgraded brakes, tyres or wheels or anything, so you have to bear that in mind when you're driving it flat out. But I mean, tonight we've popped up here because sort of on the whim we grabbed some fish and chips from the fish and chip shop in town. You could look a bit happier to be here.
Sorry. I'm not happy. I was thinking.
Deep in thought.
I was thinking, if I had the opportunity to buy the smart car again, would I buy it again? Actually, that's what I was thinking.
And what's the answer?
No.
But
what I was supposed to say.
But have you enjoyed it?
Yeah. I think just if you're looking for an economic car, there's probably far more better ones out there than that. You
probably go for something like a Polo Blue Motion.
That's exactly what I was thinking. A Polo Blue Motion or something like a Skoda
Fabia.
No, a Skoda Octavia.
Oh, what, and get the green line one
but
that
then
does.
It depends, depends where you're at in life, doesn't it? I mean, when we bought this, we didn't need it.
No, we also had the Jeep Wrangler a Volvo and a van.
We
you know,
didn't need the space, but if
No.
you need the space, then there's cars that will do the same thing.
yeah, and I
That's what I
think
was
that's the
thinking.
thing. It is a compromised daily car. You know,
It is.
you've got barely any
It'd
room
be
in the
fine
back.
if you took it to work every day, no problem, would it really? It'd be
No,
absolutely no problem
exactly.
at all. But if you've got like a kid or a dog,
If you've got
pointless
children,
in having it.
unless it's a second or even third car, to be honest.
It's pointless. No, it's pointless.
If it was perhaps a small little project car or something that you had, but you had other access to other vehicles, then I think it fits in perfectly.
Or
It fits
if you
in.
live in a city.
If you live in a city,
If
yeah,
you live
exactly.
somewhere where that's easy. I think where we live, it's not easy.
No, I mean we're very blessed where we live, as you can see.
I wouldn't change that for the world.
But even coming up here in this hill,
choosing a car is awfully difficult when you live here.
yeah, living in the countryside does present different challenges.
You don't have the ULEZ, but you have a lot of other challenges.
Yeah, and you know this thing we bought this.
It's a lovely Porsche coming down.
There's actually another rear-engine convertible car about to come past, which I don't think is quite as good, but the engine's actually more than 5 times bigger.
It does sound nice, actually.
It does sound nice.
I don't like Porsches, so
but it does sound
that's
nice.
something.
But I think, yeah, it's all about a matter of perspective with these cars. If you're looking for something that's quirky, different, then absolutely, here's the Porsche. It's definitely something you want to go for, but there it is. So, they are very similar in their setup, these two cars. It's quite interesting to see. What are you laughing at? But anyway, so, yeah, that's sort of our experience with the smart car. It's been interesting. The nice thing about it is it is very simple. Apart from the few little.
No, that's a lie. It's simple, but it's not simple to work on.
No, I mean you're.
Mechanics are simple, but if you want to try and get anything done, you need one of those chimney sweep boys
To get up inside the.
get
I quite often employ your tiny hands
Yeah,
to get into the engine bay and sort this out, because it is tiny. I mean, we had an issue with the gearbox wiring harness shorting out on the chassis. That was something that we sent it to an auto electrician for, and they couldn't fix it because they weren't the smart specialists. They couldn't sort it out. I went to Ben at Smart Technic after I'd fixed it, so I managed to find it. Actually, he suggested on Facebook, he helps people free of charge on Facebook try and fix these things, and he suggested that, and it fixed it straight away. And you have to know these cars, you have to find yourself a good specialist, but you know what, it's an absolute hoot. And for us, because we're limited on space, we wanted something a bit more fuel efficient. You can see we've got a few bits of got a jack in the back of it. That doesn't bode well, does it? But you know, it's just, this is the little economical car we call this the shopping car, because it's the one we take to the shops. It's the one that we do for little round town driving where you don't want to start up your 3-litre diesel. This fits the bill perfectly, and actually it is very efficient, very economical, cheap to have, and it's almost so cheap that there's almost no point getting rid of it, which is a bizarre concept. But
I don't know. Get rid of the headache, wouldn't it?
It would get rid of a headache, but
For our situation.
we love it. So yeah, should you buy one or not? Yes, but only if you're up for a challenge and you're aware of it's not going to be a cheap car to run. Well, it is, but it's not. You're going to have to fix it yourself.
It's not cheap.
It's not mentally cheap.
You need to learn a whole thing about smart cars. So if you want one, that's fine. But
Yeah, you can't really apply many skills that you've learned from other vehicles to this car. You've almost got to relearn the motor car, as it were. So yeah, I mean, but you know, for what we paid for it, it's definitely paid for itself in fuel savings.
it was the cheapest smart car on Auto Trader.
It's the cheapest smart car on Auto Trader. Bought it from a very dodgy Birmingham dealership even.
Left me in the car there.
Yeah, to the point where there were police riot vans, and when the police came past, the people who were selling it hid back in their underground garage.
Yeah.
It was I probably should have seen the alarm bells, but you know what? It's been a joy to drive, own, and I'm just glad we've owned one in our lifetime. So from that point of view, buy it.